called Desire. It was a new track. And time now is 9:30.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The Geek Show.
Indeed, Calvin is along from The Geek Show today, joining us from Mohawk Studios in Wellington City. Hello to you, Calvin.
Hello, Wammo.
Hello, and today we're going through your all-time list of things that will be obsolete by 2021, which is a bit of an arbitrary date, I suppose, but you've got to throw a date in there somehow, I suppose.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to have one of those discussions in the pub where you're poking people and trying to get them to go, no, I don't believe that, it's good to have a little point.
Yeah.
So I just thought, in 10 years' time, there's going to be an awful lot of things we take for granted now that are going to be functionally obsolete. And I'd just like to put a couple of caveats on this. I don't mean that you won't be able to find them around and that some people won't use them, but I think if you look at the developed world and at the sort of cutting edge of the developed world, these things will no longer be made, or activities that will no longer happen.
Okay.
Although, our current society stretches all across the globe, and it goes back many, many decades in terms of technology. So you're always going to be able to find these things. But I think the place we sit in society, these things are going to have disappeared.
Yeah, I like this idea though. So, this is fun. Predicting the future is always kind of fun. In 10
years' time, we can come back and laugh at ourselves. And, how wrong were we?
Well, especially when 2001, doesn't seem that long ago at all. So, yeah, a bit scary predicting the future so soon. First up, though, what's the first thing that's going to be obsolete, do you think?
Cables.
Cables?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see cables going from any of our devices anymore.
Okay.
I think anything that can be powered by wireless power, things like televisions that can be sat in a room where coils in the wall can be powered to the television.
Yeah.
I think a lot of power cables will disappear that way, and anything which can have batteries in won't be charged up by a power cable. You'll just leave them on an induction mat, and they will charge up their batteries wirelessly.
Right. So that's
transmission.
Yeah, that's already happening now. The charging devices, but man, charging more powerful things like TVs through the wall, that seems to me rather scary.
Well, no, this has already been demonstrated. Researchers at MIT, they proved it mathematically about 6 years ago, and then about a year later they actually started demoing it. And if you check online, if you do sort of a search for TED Talks, TED Talks, and wireless power, you can see a television being powered by nothing. And it's done by magnetic resonance, so it's not like they're beaming high-power radio waves to do it. It's done via magnetism.
Okay.
This is something Tesla was trying to do all those years ago before he went doolally.
Yeah. And
it's been fully demoed, and it does work. You can walk in between the wall and the television, and you don't heat up or anything like that. So, that would all work.
All right. Next.
However, I do think TVs will be obsolete.
Oh, really? TVs as we know them?
Yeah. But I don't necessarily mean screens will be obsolete. I think there's a good chance that all we'll do is paint something on the wall. Or we'll have small projectors which will put screens wherever you want. Or we will have sheets of active paper. I've already seen I've already put down here as well. I think paper, as we know it, will be functionally obsolete, as will be books. We might have books hanging around, but I don't think many people will be able to afford to print real books when the cost of electronic book readers will have plummeted so far, and the experience will be so much better.
We already have these, these tablet devices, iPads and Android devices as well, Samsung Galaxies like the one I'm showing on the camera here. Will they be like that, or will they have developed much, much further?
I think they'll have developed much further. I think what you're more likely to have is a sheet of nearly indestructible paper that captures its energy from the light landing on it, and at most has got maybe a small wireless attachment to whatever processing device you keep on you. something like your iPhone, but it'll be something significantly smaller. Might just be a little badge you wear that does all your local processing and connects you to the internet for any greater degree of processing, and then hands out data to all your local devices.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a brave prediction. What else is on your list of things that will be obsolete by 2021?
Well, credit cards. I don't think we'll have credit cards anymore. That little badge device that we're wearing, or whatever it is, will have replaced those, as well as supermarket checkouts.
Yeah. Okay. So what those self-service checkouts that we have now? They do away with the need for a person, don't they?
Yeah, but I just think we won't see any people handling money or transactions at this a point in 10 years' time, if we indeed have shops.
Huh. You think it'll all be ordered over the net?
A great deal of shops around.
Yeah.
I don't actually think we'll see supermarkets for that much longer. I actually think the delivery of goods, the Amazon model, will hit supermarkets very hard.
Yeah.
Because I just think soon the cost of traveling to the supermarket for an individual will vastly outweigh effectively the sharing of that cost between people getting deliveries made.
Right. Well, that's right, isn't it? Because there's other things that come into play other than technology. There's the world geopolitical situation with oil and peak oil and that sort of thing. So that does come into play. That's a very, very good point. But what about talking about paying for things? Google has just introduced into some of their phones the near field communication, where you just kind of plonk your phone down on the desk and then it pays for whatever you've got.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty much the future of things. You can pretty much walk in, if there are shops, you could pretty much walk into them, and as long as it recognizes who you are on the way in, you maybe pass a couple of sensors. If it's sure who you are on the way in and your ID is verified, then you can just walk out with whatever you want and it'll register that to your account.
Huh. Okay, all right. What else is on the list?
Okay, interesting ones. I think accountants will be obsolete. I think they'll simply be replaced by expert software. I think games consoles will be obsolete.
Oh, okay. What's going to replace the game console?
Pardon?
What's going to replace the game console?
Your local computing device. Your local badge or phone or whatever you're carrying on you will be able to wirelessly communicate with every screen around you. And if it needs processing power more than it's got to do whatever type of game you want to play, I think it'll be able to offload that to the nearest processors in either the walls or somewhere nearby, or just the cloud in general. So
you won't have a gaming disc as such, will you? The game will be in the cloud.
Yeah, everything data-wise will live in the cloud, and you'll just decide, I'd like to play that game, for a few hours, and you get charged maybe by the hour for it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Something more less physical is something I think will be obsolete is looking for a parking spot.
What? Because you won't have cars?
No, either because the car will find it itself. Or your device will tell you exactly where to go to find one. I think in 10 years' time, there's a chance that the steering wheel in the car will be functionally obsolete.
Does that mean does that mean traffic accidents will be obsolete?
Yes, I think so. I think the rise of self-driving cars will be faster than anyone can believe, purely because the point at which they become significantly safer than humans, and they're not far away from that, from what I can tell, humans will have to pay so much in insurance to justify driving rather than letting the machine do it, that only the very rich will be able to drive. And I think for most people, insurance will price them out of driving.
Yeah, and the rest, everyone
else
has to be on...
I think there will still be cars on the road with steering wheels. I don't think there'll be many cars driven by combustion engines directly.
Yeah, okay. And the rest will be on public transport with no drivers.
No, I think they'll be in private transport with no drivers. I think there'll be a mix of public and private, but I think people still like... I think a lot of people, when they say they like driving, they don't so much like turning the wheel and pressing the accelerator. I think they just like a little bubble of time to themselves in between being with their family and going to a job or something like that. They like the small amount of privacy in the little individual living room that they get from a car.
Good point. Well, that's an interesting list of things that Calvin thinks will be obsolete by 2021. I think some of those might be obsolete just a little bit later, but anyway, we'll say 2021. That's a very, very cool list. Thanks very much, Calvin. And
no problems.
Thegeekshow.com is where you can head for more of this kind of stuff, and also twitter.com/Calvin, CHELFYN.